Um, I want to ask you a question before we begin. So, I saw it on Facebook. They were talking about living in the States is highly overrated. Conrad Michael Correct. I don't know who that is, but they post that living in the States is highly overrated. If the USVI economy was a lot better, you better out staying there once you can make a comfortable living. I think, Fari, you are living in the States for any time?
I live in
Oh,
the
yeah, for college and
States.
stuff.
While I was in college, and then a few months after college, well, maybe like 3 months after college.
What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that? Do y'all agree, disagree?
Well, I agree. I mean, I for one, if like they said, and that's a big if. If the VI was economy was better, it'd be better down here. I mean, for one, you have just the atmosphere of being home. It does feel good just to be home. It feels that's the best way to put it. All the things that you grew up doing, you are still able to do, but now you're able to do it from a standpoint of being an adult and contributing to society and trying to make the community better. I do
Hmm.
think that it is difficult that with the economy not being where it should be. But if I think a lot of people, if the jobs and the opportunities and things were here, yeah, people would be back home
Probably move home.
at times because yeah, I feel like the states is overrated for sure, for sure. When I was up in the states, it was nice and all, but I mean, living compared to visiting is completely two different things, and I feel like a stranger in the states. I feel I don't feel good in the states, and that's essentially why I ended up moving back home because I just didn't like the vibe of the states. And granted, I was in Florida. I wasn't in any other state to know how what that feels like. But I knew
Yeah,
I wanted to come back home, and luckily,
true.
I do have a decent opportunity here that I can make a good living while being in the Virgin Islands in its current state. So I'm one of the lucky ones that could get to experience the VI um, currently and still be pretty okay.
True, true, true. What about you, Kayra? How do you feel about that?
I was thinking about how I feel about that because I've lived in a few states like growing up and then also as an adult, and I've also like lived here now as a child and now as an adult. And I like living in the States. I really enjoy the States. Like I enjoy my lifestyles because I've lived in New York, I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in
Mm.
Maryland, and I've also like stayed in San Diego for a month. Like I
You've been all
enjoy,
over?
yeah, I've been like all over and like lived like like had like apartments and built a community and stuff in these places. So I
Mm.
enjoyed that because it's like after living here for a little bit, like in the States, it's nice to not be Karen Data and Clifford Grandchild, and I could just like go to Walmart and just do my thing, and there's just like no big hoopla. Like you're not running into people that you know all the time, and like even if you don't know them, people who know you. So there's like this air of like mystery that I get to have in the
Mm.
States versus like being home, which again is not a bad thing all the time. Like it is nice to have a community, people who know you, see you, love you. Like, oh, that's Kara.
Mm.
Here's some mangoes. Like, there's like a lovingness to living here and like being loved. But sometimes, I just want to go out and not be so and so's daughter, grandchild, sister, friend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to exist.
Yeah.
Um, economically, I feel that like if the Virgin Islands had a little bit more opportunities and stuff, like you can really build a comfortable lifestyle. But the thing about the Virgin Islands is it's kind of like a magical place. You can really manifest whatever you want here. So just like leaning into like the healing properties of the island and like sitting with nature and all of that, like all of your needs can and will be met here if you focus your intentions on that, no matter what
I'm
the
doing that.
economy looks like. So, and I just
Mm.
know that firsthand. Like since moving home, like I came here with just me and my kid and a couple $100 and a lot of debt, and all my bills have been paid. And I haven't had like a consistent full-time job. I've been freelancing and just figuring it out, and every month the bills are paid. I literally don't know how, but God. So
What you gotta do? The power of God.
Yeah, like it's just God. So, and it's nice being able to go to the beach every Sunday. It's nice to be able to go to the rainforest. It is nice to catch up with people that you haven't seen in like years from high school or elementary and like see them
Hmm.
grow up and like watch people change and evolve and stuff. It's
Hmm.
nice to go to the market and get fresh fruits and vegetables. Like it's nice to do all of these things, but I also really love like going like to Walmart and having certain conveniences that you don't have here. I guess it's like a little materialistic being in the States, but I like certain conveniences and I like certain qualities of life that it offers as well. I like
I
both. If
agree.
I had it, how I intend to live my life is I want to be bi-coastal between St. Croix and a state. Like I need both lifestyles.
Understood.
Brian, talk to me. Did we lose Brian?
It's a
So
reconnecting.
Well, I'll share. Well, we wait for Brian to come back. I can't move back home. Not right now. I can't do it. So I think that if, like what you were saying, Far right, I think that if is the reason a lot of people don't want to live home. So is that so saying like if it was like that is kind of like okay, well, obviously. But for me, it's not necessarily. I love home, and I kind of like agree with you, Kayra. Like for me, I would have to be if I do move home, which I do plan to eventually. It would have to be in a situation where I could always dip and go forth. So like for me, it's not necessarily so much the economy, but just I like to do comedy shows. I like to go to sporting events. I like those kind of things. That's what I'm exploring. I like to travel. I like the ease of being able to jump to another states. I like to restaurant hop a bunch of different restaurants. So for me, it's just mostly the home is too small for me. It's just too
yeah,
small and not enough. Yeah, not enough entertainment for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same token, what I do like about home is to be able to go to the beach on Sundays. I like the bars home a little bit better just because of the vibe and the people. I like the people home a lot more better. It's much more like family feeling, but not enough to bring me back home right now. I kind of like to be able to. I about to go Phoenix for Monster Jam in a coming up soon. I about to go to the aquarium this weekend. That's a 2 hour
yeah,
drive, hit the aquarium, like going to the zoo. You know what I'm saying? I like to do those kind of things for me, at least right now. So for me, I would move back home kind of later than when I plan to. All right, I try to settle along a little bit in terms of like maneuvering all over the place and relax. I think home is more relaxing for me, and I ain't really in the relaxing kind of mindset
Mm.
right now. I active. But
I think everybody should do both. Like get both experiences, especially if you're like
I
born and
agree.
I
raised in.
agree. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
I
like
wish
everybody should
more
do both.
people from the states could get the experience of just living on an island in general, so they can see how like it's completely night and day in terms of like
Hmm.
time. You know, island time is a real thing. People don't realize that like island time is a real thing. Like whole
Island
different kind of.
time is a BS excuse to be late.
I mean, it
I
is.
completely agree. I
It is, but it's a real thing.
It exists
But
though.
not just that. I mean, but things are just slower. You don't have the hustle and the
Well,
bustle.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. Think, yeah.
But like honestly, I wish there was a little bit more of that energy. Like, cause I be on the go. Like I'm like something's at 10, I'm there at 10. Like like I be trying
Hmm.
to like really stick to it. And sometimes I mean I guess I enjoy when island time works in my favor when I am running late
Yeah.
and
Anyway,
people
yeah. Yeah.
like ain't even nothing. Like it don't even matter. Like it's cool, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm so used to having to be like super punctual, but I feel like if there was a little bit more pep in our step, and I just feel like that's just a lack of like millennial Gen Z like
I agree.
crowd here. Like the energy, like a youthful energy, is just kind of missing. It's really kind of like an older
It
crowd,
is.
and then like kids. But like our
Hmm.
generation is kind of sparse in terms of the community, and even like if people are here, I've noticed since living here, like there's in my few months here, there just hasn't been like a lot of like networking events for millennials, Gen Z crowd, like
Hmm.
just opportunities to like outside of like the club scene, like a bar scene, like just I don't like you said aquariums and zoos and just like I don't know, just like other spaces to connect with the like mid 20s to like late 30s crowd is just kind of like especially in a professional environment is kind of like missing, and so this
Lacking,
like
lacking for sure.
yeah, and that to me I think is it just makes everything feel kind of like slow. Like I feel like there should be more like I don't know, cocktail events and happy hours after work, which is something I'd love to curate eventually, but I got to get myself together.
You know what's funny? I never hit up a happy hour ever. I think maybe like one time by mistake. It was I went to a sushi spot and it just happened to be happy hour. But I've never like consciously decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to hit up this bar at happy hour to get these nice prices. I think that's like high level adulting. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah,
That's what to be
You
my
didn't
new
just
thing.
you didn't just talk about cutting back.
No, I gotta figure out the price. I forgot the problem. No, listen, hold on. Happy hour have food as well, all right? Happy hour have food as well. So again, happy hour for the food specials. You feel me?
they do.
But
You
Brian,
can
you're
get
a cut
like
off free.
$5.
That's what I'm saying. Brian, you want to share? I know you cut off. You need a question again?
No, I mean, I just piggyback off of what Kayra and Fari said. I mean, like, it just, to me, it boils down on the lifestyle you want to live. Like, it's just based on your personality because, I mean, like, opportunities are anywhere. Just like Kayra said, like, how she just mentioned at the end of her talk, like, it's something she wants to look into. I mean, the reason why we don't have a lot of things is because people our age haven't done them. If we wanted these to curate these social events, we would do that. It really boils down to something that simple. From an economical standpoint, I see why people tend to leave. I mean, like a lot of opportunities aren't really given to the younger generation. When I say not younger generation, I'm not even just speaking about us millennials. Well, millennials in its whole. I'm encompassing people in their late
Mid
30s
thirties,
to
mid.
to now because like a lot of the job opportunities like most industry like most of the jobs on island are solidified with people who've been doing the job do it until they decide they want to retire. Nothing is being changed, so a lot of opportunity isn't being given to people who in our age group who have a different knowledge base. We're not getting the chance because we don't have the experience, but we can't get the experience if people don't, for lack of a
Give
better
us the
way, move out
opportunity.
the way. No,
Right.
just move out the way. Like some people are beyond
Yeah.
retirement age and they
Way
just
beyond it.
hold on to these jobs because the compensation it gives, but they're not given the opportunity. And some of the older demographic, honestly, they feel challenged by the upcoming people because they believe they're more hungry. People can get things done in a quicker manner or different means of thinking, so they're not really welcoming to that. Versus the states, like Kira said, nobody knows you, so like it's nothing to give you opportunity because I don't have to worry about hey, I is positive son and somebody don't like positive or my name is Kira and I know your
I'm
mother and I give
pausing
you this
up.
job. You know, so it's that simple for me. But like when it comes down to like the basis for me, speaking from my like there's nothing that could beat living home because I know myself, and that's my sense of community. I never had the need to reinvent myself. Wherever I go, I'm still Bryan. I'm home. Bryan is his best self because I'm comfortable. I'm relaxed. I don't have to be, on edge. Yes, I could go to the States and have fun or whatever, but I'll never truly be relaxed because that's not where I'm from. It's not home. You know,
Mm.
I always have to worry about my next move in the States. I have to be more cautious of what I do, what I say, I don't have those problems home. I could do what I want. I could be at home and walk up the road barefoot and nobody gonna even know, nobody gonna think less of it. I always go somewhere and get a glass of water at Titi Bread to eat. I won't go hungry home, you know. My dollar home could stretch me longer like a stretch in the States and it doesn't make sense because in the States, quote unquote, some people claim the cost of living is less, but I guess it's how you spend your money. But I could have $5 in my pocket longer at home than I can have it in the States. So I always feel more comfortable home. And that's
Fair
just
enough.
my
Fair
take.
enough. I like those answers. I appreciate y'all taking part in my little experiment. But without further ado, y'all know what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of Become True Podcast. I am your host today, the one and only, the luxurious. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how my intro coming every time. It's your boy Webb. With me today, I have my co-host. Far, go to introduce yourself.
Yeah, Black as now, it's your boy Fari. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let's go.
And then before I introduce our special guest, I acknowledge our return guest, Paul, aka Bryan, my dog. How you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, without further ado, we have the wonderful. And I'm going to go to your accolades because the people don't know you get
Beefed
some
up.
things going on. Yeah, you beefed up. You beefed up. This is the award winning. We're gonna say award winning, So this is award winner right now. We in an excellent room. Known her. The most thing I know her for was the adulting series. If you guys remember that series,
Yeah, that was
she
nice.
have worked with MTV and VH1. She have worked with Paramount Global, and these y'all know these companies. These big companies. We just lashing off all the big companies one time. She won an award for adulting. I think that was not too long ago, actually. If y'all haven't seen that series, check it out on YouTube. It's still up, right? Right, Kayra? It's still up.
Yes, sir.
Make sure y'all go check that out. But to me, one of the biggest accomplishments that she have going on right now is she is a mother now. So big up to yourself for that. Big up to yourself for that. But we have the
Whoa.
wonderful Kayra here with us today. Kayra, how are you? Thank you for gracing the Come True podcast stage. We are more than happy to have you today. How are you feeling?
Yes, thank you for having me. That was a beautiful introduction. I feel great. I'm really happy to be here and like blessed and honored to be on the podcast.
Of course, of course, of course. Before we begin, y'all know what this segment about to be about. I like to give gratitude every week. To give gratitude for whatever you experienced throughout the week, to give thanks for whatever you want to give thanks for. I'll begin this time. I like to give thanks for y'all, my friends, my supporters. Look at this dude here now. But I give thanks to my friends, my supporters, and my family for just being there anytime I needed to somebody to lean on, anytime I needed advice, for just being there and being in my corner and helping push me to the point I am today, help me pull me out of the shitty situations I've been in, raise me up based on the good situations I've been in, and give me praises. So I really give thanks for being able to having a good tribe, a good village around me, and give thanks to the mother of my children since we're talking a little bit about motherhood today. Shout out to Leah for holding it down, you know what I'm saying, taking care of my children, them raising two beautiful young women. And that's what I got. Kira, you want to
Mm-hmm.
share next?
Yeah, honestly, I have like similar sentiments. Like, shout out to my tribe, my people, my supporters. I've been definitely like going hard in my business lately. Like you mentioned, I worked for a lot of big companies in my past career, and where I'm at right now has just been like more focused on my own business and invested in myself. And so I'm really just loving the support. Everybody who's been watching my stuff and sharing, and like you guys, like seeing me and giving me a platform to tell my story. I'm definitely very grateful for that. And then my friends and family who helped me with the baby. Like this week he was home from daycare, and so shout out to his dad and like my mom and stuff for helping with like the load of taking care of him so I can work and do my thing and just make it all work out. So yeah, shout out to the tribe, shout out to the people, shout out to y'all. I'm very blessed and grateful.
Good, good. Far right, talk to me.
Of
No,
course.
not
Shout out
much.
to the family, to to the youths. But I really do want to give thanks for my work community, my work family. I don't think Kira knows, but as you guys know, we're getting ready to go up to Boston for my daughter's heart surgery. She was born with a congenital heart disease. So I put out the request for donated time to be able to continue to be paid while I'm off. He's doing that, it being is an extended time, and immediately, literally less than a minute after I press send, first person call, boom, I need the information. I'm doing it right now, and a few others and this is still day one. A few others reached out to me, so it's just great to feel the support, just to know that my work community cares. So I just really do want to give thanks to that.
Amen.
For sure, for
Nice,
sure,
nice.
for sure. Big up, big up, big up. Big up to the agencies that doing us rallying together and doing what it's supposed to do. Because sometimes you don't really get a lot of those stories. It's usually you're fighting and you're fighting and fighting.
Mhm.
So big up to them for doing that for real. Brian, talk to me.
Staying along the same lines, big up to the family, the support group. Um, Keep me humble, keep me grounded. I really want to show, I don't know this guy, but I really big up to my pilot who got me here because let me tell you guys, for a whole hour and a half, I felt like that plane was going to fall out the sky. So I want to send a shout out to you. I think his name was Dale for American
Right.
Airlines. Shout out Dale, because my heart was in my ass when you got me here in one piece. So shout out Dale.
Shout out to Dave. Oh my God, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced some pretty bad turbulence where it's just like you just clenching your seats the whole time. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
And
All
Webbe,
right, my bad.
oh,
I had a
keep
little
back,
quick
keep back.
emergency. I
Oh,
had a little quick emergency I have to deal with. But we're back, we're back, we're back. But without further ado, I give thanks for y'all taking part in my little segment every week. I know it's a good chance to self reflect, look back at some things, and a good chance to give some thanks. Sometimes we don't take the pauses and be able to say thank you. And sometimes the other people, whoever watching and hearing this, sometimes they don't even know that we feel this way and know that we are thankful because sometimes we don't express it all the time throughout all the hustle and bustle. So appreciate y'all for taking part. Without further ado, we're gonna get right to it. Kayra, and we talked about this before. You did something that I expressed to you that I wanted to do. You did a TED Talk. And for those who don't know, that's a really big platform. A lot of amazing speakers have graced the TED Talk stage. You have been able to do so. And on that TED Talk, you talked about something that is called bad faith. And I show a lot of the viewers and even the fellas expressed to me that people don't really know what that is. And then, so I want you, if you can, to be able to explain to us a little bit what bad faith is, and then what did it take for you to be able to make the decision to reject it and take the leap into the unknown?
Yeah, so bad faith is a concept that I learned from the French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, which basically says that if you believe that bad things are going to happen, then they will. So if you keep like speaking negatively over your life, then like you're just going to bring in that negativity. And I mean, we hear this like narrative a lot lately in terms of like manifestation and speaking positive of your life, but it really is a true sense of belief. Like, if you believe that you are unattractive, then you will feel unattractive. And so it's just like putting your belief into bad things would mean that bad things are going to happen to you, for you, over you, that sort of thing. So, with that, you have to, like, with that, like, understanding, you have to be able to like reject it and switch your mindset. Like our brains are automatically like programmed to like think of the worst, and that's just, protecting you from danger and things like that. But you have to like actively tell yourself like, no, like I actually can do this thing, or I actually do feel pretty. I actually do love myself. Like I can complete this project. I can do this job. Because naturally, like we all have this thing that tells us like, oh no, it's like a fear thing, like, no, I can't do this thing, I never did it before, it's not gonna work out, like I don't have any money. And it's like when you say that, like you're just affirming that to yourself and to the universe, and like, to all the vibes, and then that just becomes the thing. So it takes like a real strong mentality, like you just have to be so strong in being like committed to your goals that you have set for yourself. So, when I was working on my web series Adultin, at the time I had just graduated from college, and I was doing a lot in college. I had done like some shows with the like students on campus, and I had like campus resources to do stuff. I was doing the first ever school news program. I was producing that, and I produced this political science talk show. And, I was like, okay, well, yeah, like I'm in college. Like I have all these things right here. Like I can do this. And so when I got out of college, it was like, okay, I have all these ideas that I want to do. And I had a job out of college. I was working at this company. It was then called Gizmodo Media. And it like changed to Go Media. And I was working on this feminist website called Jezebel. And I started out as an intern there, and I was interning and like, interviewing celebrities and stuff like that. So I had like this experience of doing like interview work and some production stuff. And I was like, I want to do my own thing. I want to have my own ideas, like made into real life, but I had never done it before. And when I pitched the idea to my co-creator, one of my co-creators, Paulette, she was just serious about it. Like she was like, "Yeah, like let's do it." And and she affirmed me. Like having somebody that affirms you is also very important. And she held me accountable, and like having someone to deliver to was really helpful too. Like I didn't want to let her down. Like we actually met
Right.
in France. We both skipped our college graduations and flew to Cannes to work with. I was working with Lionsgate, and she was working with Annapurna Pictures for the Cannes Film Festival as interns. And so we met out there. So I'm like, this is a serious girl. She went to NYU. Like, I'm not trying to waste her time. Like, I got to be about my business. And that kept me, like delivering and like putting it out there, just affirming to myself, like whatever, like she would affirm me. It was like, okay, like this is working, like this is working out. And then I met my third co-creator, Malik. While I was working at Jezebel, I was interviewing Lynn Whitfield, and Malik was assisting Lynn during her week in New York. And we just kind of like felt a vibe, like, oh, we kind of look alike. We had like similar just energy. And I ended up like DMing her and just being like, hey, like, you want to get pizza? And we did, and we ended up finding out that she was working on a web series for herself called Adulting While Black, and then I was doing Adulting with Paulette, and we just decided to join forces and combine everything and do the show together.
Nice.
So yeah, so in that experience, it was just like all these different like nuggets was coming together. Like it was like I take one step and then like another like beautiful nugget was popping up, and I'm like, oh, like it's working out. And I just kept telling myself like all these things keep working out, so it's working out. And I just kept this belief up, like I just have to believe that this is going to work out, and I had people to deliver to. And then once I put it out there, like we started promoting because we were crowdfunding. So once I put it out to the public, it was like, now I really have to do it because I told people about it, and like I don't want to be a fraud. Like I just kind of like set myself up to deliver on this idea, versus telling myself like, oh, I can't do it, like I never did it before, like, oh, I don't have any money. Because these are all things that came up, but it was just like thinking more in a solution mindset. Like we didn't have no money, we're fresh out of college living in New York City. We ended up crowdfunding $12,000 and in 45 days for the show, and I had never crowdfunded before. I literally, that was the most my bank account ever even saw, and it wasn't for me, you know what I mean, it was for the show. But my bank account have probably never seen more than like a stack at this point in time. Like I'm like 21. So 12K in my account. We're making budgets, we're paying people, like we're like contacting locations, and I'm putting myself out there in New York, this, the Big Apple. And it was working out. Like we kept meeting the right people, meeting people with cameras, meeting people who just like wanted to act, wanted to write, wanted to help. And yeah, I just had to keep affirming to myself, like, okay, like this is gonna work out, like this is happening, this is working. And it did.
Something I find interesting? You just turned out like some heavy hitters, like $12,000 in crowdfunding that quick, working for Lionsgate. And like how you just breeze through these things, like these are small accomplishments. These are big things that people aspire to be able to do, man. So shout out to you for being able to be in those spaces, and that's a dope story, like the experience. Almost like it was meant to happen, you know what I'm saying? Like got the
Right.
chance
Yeah.
to like
At
some of those things
such a
happen
young age too. That's she said
in
she
that
was
way.
21.
One of the things I
Yeah.
would say after especially watching the TED talk and thinking about it, and even just hearing the story, I think sometimes for a lot of us it kind of stems from sometimes fear of failure, the fear of the unknown and the fear of failure that kind of like cripples us from going out there and doing exactly what we want to do. And it takes, like, I would agree completely with you, Sika. I've been in the same predicaments a bunch of times, and then I've actually had other people come and I don't not help but put more fuel to the fire of me doing that. Like, for example, little stuff like I've always got criticized about jumping from idea to idea. They always like, oh, you need to stop doing that, you know what I'm saying? Or because I didn't really want to go to school or focus on like a school, college type of education type thing, is always like, oh, your other family members might have did this before, or this person they know did this before and it didn't happen to them. So they kind of see it in that doubt in my head, like, oh, you know what? If I go down this road, it might not happen. And it goes back to the same thing you say. You kind of have to flip your mindset, and I think kind of like flip your whole perspective on what failure is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and what like being unlucky is and those things. When you start to think about it from a different light and just go out and experience and go out and try, you realize like it's all part of the journey. And I'm saying like you're never gonna really like take the right step until you take a step altogether. Like, it's impossible to
No,
take the right step
exactly.
unless you're taking steps. So
I
that's kind of how I looked at it. Go ahead.
I love that what you said. It's like really redefining like what failure is. Honestly, like the way I see it is, I don't really see myself as someone who's afraid to fail. I just be doing stuff. Like, and I just have like a very large sense of self-acceptance. Like for example,
Mhm.
I fell down at Juve and then I was like, damn, that's embarrassing. And I just like got up and like, kept going. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I could have either like been like, damn, I fell down. I suck. I want to go home. Like everybody saw me, blah, 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 blah. But it was like, no, I fell down at the Juve and it's like, okay, I started a project and I didn't finish it. Like, okay, like it's okay. Like it's okay if it doesn't like work out or whatever. It's just more so about like you have to think about your why. Like, why am I doing this thing? Like, what's motivating me? And like you just said, like redefining like your idea of what failure even is. Because to take it back to Adulting, we did one season and then the pandemic happened. It was released in 2019 and then the pandemic happened in 2020 and we were trying to like continue to make content and me and my co-creators we were like gonna start a production company together. Like we had created a writer's room to do season 2 and then ultimately it just didn't work out. Like we each had our own separate journeys that we started going on and we were telling people like, oh, stay tuned for season 2, we're gonna make season 2, da 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 da. And we ended up just splitting up, dissolving the company and going our separate ways. And so like that's the end of the adulting journey for right now. um I don't feel like I failed. Another part of that was that we also were like pitching the show to be um platformed somewhere other than YouTube. Like, we wanted to stream it somewhere. And so we would go to these pitch meetings. We had pitch meetings with Complex. I worked at MTV in development. I was pitching it to like the EVP of unscripted programming. Like, like I'm in this big boss office trying to pitch my web series to this woman. And we were pitching it around and it never got picked up. It's still on YouTube for the free. None of us made a dime off of the work that we did. And so some people could see that as failure, right? To me, I just see it as this project is on low in the crock pot. Like it's just still, it's just warm right now. Like it's not being like actively worked on. It's just brewing. And so I could have allowed that, like our lack of distribution or the fact that we didn't continue to work together, like deter me from dreams and goals and stuff or feel like, oh, I did all this work and I failed. But I don't feel that way at all. Like I feel like we completed a whole season. A lot of people who worked on that show are on to bigger and better things, including myself and my co-creator and my co-creators. And it is what it is at the end of the day. Like if you start a project and you didn't finish it, like that's just what it is. Maybe it's just not time for that project to be served up right now. Like it might just still be in the oven, you know what I'm saying? Or it might be in the crock pot on low and you just gotta let it
Yeah,
simmer, let it marinate, like do its thing, and you could revisit it later and focus on something else.
something else. Brian, talk to me. How you feel about like that mindset, and if you have encountered any positions where you kind of had the same mindset, and how did you overcome that?
I mean, I think everybody goes through that sense of, I guess, quote unquote, bad faith or downplaying yourself or being consumed by the what if and if things don't work out. And for me, like that used to hit me hard young, but like it took me years. Now I'm a nice humble age of 28 to realize that those things, failure is necessary in life. Like you need to fail at things to know what you truly care about. That's the bottom line for me. If you fail at something and you decide to toss it away forever, then you know that's not something that you truly cared about. You were passionate about because you need to fail so you know how that feels in order to succeed. Because if you always succeed when you fail, you don't know how to react, how to act. So I feel like failing for me is necessary. Like if I fail at something, but I truly want it, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try not to make those same mistakes. I'm gonna learn from that. So I'm gonna push
Right.
forward in those aspects. If I don't fail, I think, oh, this is easy. I just go about life willy nilly until too late in life or I'm too high up, so the fall is greater, then like I don't know how to come back from it. So like failing on things that you're passionate about to me is necessary. It makes you appreciate it more, and to me it doubles down on the drive. Like yeah, I want this so much, I'm gonna get up and do it again. And in terms of like the bad faith of bringing it into you, like I definitely had a bad habit of that. Like I was just like, I would always think of the worst possible thing that could happen to almost use that as an excuse not to do things. But like just from the people in my life, and especially like now in like my older life, my girlfriend always says like I shouldn't like put like bad thoughts into the universe because like Kayra said, that's what's gonna I'm gonna believe in. So like I try to like even if I know it's gonna be tough, I try to say, I know I can do this. Like this is easy. Even though I know it may not be, just putting that positive mindset on things totally changes how you approach it. So I'm thankful for those people in my life, especially my girlfriend now who, constantly reaffirms and, to speak the positivity into things you want to do so then you can have that positive mindset when you're trying to achieve those goals. So that's my take on it now.
All right.
So for starters, I'll start with positive is how I live. So a lot of
Promo,
I didn't
promo.
have a lot of negative thoughts to tear me down. Aside from like Bryan mentioned, you mentioned the fear of failure. So I grew up where if you bring a A minus home, the question is why not a A plus? I grew up where my brother doing big things, so now I'm trying to be at his level or higher to just as much academically. So I grew up always excelling academically to the point where I probably never failed throughout my entire grade school career. I probably failed once. It was in a junior high. It was a crazy test, anyways. But overall, I've never failed. So going to college, breezing through the first few years, and then going to UF, where things actually became more difficult. At that point in time, I didn't even know how to study. Like because I just never used to study. I mean, we didn't have our phones. The phones weren't allowed in school, so you're focusing in class. So yeah, the first time I like really just failed bad, it was for a statics exam, and I thought I would never share this in real life, but I'm gonna share the story just because it's something that happened to me.
And
Break
before
So
you
the
go,
news.
Tafari, Tafari ain't capping neither because I linked Tafari when I just started school about studying and them thing. And my boy tell me straight out like, nah, dog, I wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't blacking off no times and none of that. So he ain't capping the man being real right now.
yeah, so this was for a statics exam, and overall statics is not a difficult course. A lot of math and things like that, but I excel in those stuff. So it's not like it was a difficult exam. I study usually how I study. I study the day over the day before, and I just cram just to get enough information to pass with something acceptable to me. So I am in this exam, and I literally completely blanked out. Like literally all the information that I learned for this exam literally went blank, and I'm just there looking at this exam. My heart start pounding. I start getting an anxiety attack just thinking about, oh shit, I'm about to fail this exam. And it was so bad, guys. This is so embarrassing to say. It was so bad that I literally ejaculated while soft, bro. And I kid
But
you
you got
not.
yo,
Yo, yo,
listen.
hey, I don't know what will come in, but that's not
I didn't
You
know
don't
what
know
pun
to
what's
intended by
coming.
the way.
No,
That's
no,
not what I
say.
no.
expected.
So literally, your boy soft experiencing an anxiety attack for the first time, and I literally bust a nut. I was so embarrassed. Nobody knew what happened. Nobody saw what happened. But I just did
Oh,
embarrassed.
that's funny.
The time for the exam run out. I give the exam to the man. I come in, I bawling my eyes out because I am just so I am just so embarrassed. I feel like, let's man, what the hell is going on? I just a little bitch. Fuck, what the fuck going on? So I just crying, talking to my mother. It's like, oh my
Did you leave
gosh.
that part
But
out?
anyways, huh?
Ed,
When you call your mother, did you leave that part out?
No. I tell her that. I tell her that all sad face, everything, because I dare barely talking to the
yeah,
words
that's
just because I
crazy.
can't believe what happened. But that's how crippling the fear of failure was for me. Uh, when I experienced a situation like that, and
Mm-hmm.
really how I overcame that whole fear is honestly, am I just failing more? And then
That's
you
beautiful.
realize you start to learn like this you okay, you get back up
Yeah.
and you just try harder so to learn from those and do better. so
Yeah.
so
Dust yourself off.
my gosh, but failure was at a different, as you could see, an all-time crazy level for me. So
That's why you should feel early, kids. You know?
Hey, fail fast and fail young. Hey, it's easier when you're younger. I tell people like you really sometimes gotta live like a child, dog. Like, you gotta go back to where it's like
yes,
a child don't
yes.
really care about failure. They just going on. Like they don't just get up and try walk. They don't know if they can walk or not. But hey, I get enough strength. I can get up and try and fall. Okay, I can cry for a little bit, and then I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
Quick
Exactly.
thing, quick thing with that with child, man. My son, because this man always dropping gems on me, dude. That just the stick with me. But he was saying he want to be a doctor, a astronaut, a this, a that, a this, a that. I'm like,
Mm.
that's a lot of stuff you want to do. You know, you have to put in time for that. What if you I asked something like, what if you don't do good at something? He said, well, I'll just go on I'll just move on to something else or something along those lines. And just how we to be so scared to start over, they just make it so simple. Is with no second thought. Well, I mean, I'll just start over. I mean, just
Straight
build
up.
it back from the ground up and do what I gotta do. And
Shout out
sometimes
TJ.
we think of 50 years old, we don't want to start over. And really and truly, that was the beginning point of your success, your journey. Sometimes you're just scared to take that journey just from the thought that you had to start over. I mean, look at Kentucky,
Yeah,
man. He started at what, 65 with the actual idea of Kentucky
Whoa,
and
whoa, whoa. Let's not go down those
multi-millionaire.
lines. Mm,
So
he just waited
that's
until
so
he was that old before he stole the recipe.
I don't know that. Oh gosh. Oh Lord.
But all right, I want to move on a little bit. We've all seen our different levels of success in different realms. What I will start with you, Farah, this time. What would you say is the two most important intrapersonal skills that have aided in your success, and then and why? Why specifically? Whichever two you decide to go with, why specifically those two?
Mm.
Let me see. I would probably say empathy for one. Um, Being able to connect with a lot of people and yeah, really just connect with a lot of people, to being able to empathize and feel what they're feeling, to a point where we could communicate as if we knew each other for years. And good listening, I guess that would be another one too, because I've learned a lot just from staying quiet and listening to others rather than talking. Um,
Empathy is an underrated one. I didn't even
yeah,
expect that to be done, to be
that's a
honest.
big one, because
Mm.
you can't connect with somebody if you don't have that. If you can't step into the shoes and see from their perspective. Uh, and I guess I'll go with those two. I
Okay,
forgot I had it probably pop up mid thought while somebody else speaking, but if it does, I'll bring it up.
you good. What
But
about you,
yeah,
Kira? Sorry.
no.
two skills. I would say. I mean, definitely empathy. I'm gonna like resound that one. That was very important.
Hmm.
I would say, like I said, I have like a big sense of self acceptance, and so just like talking
Mm,
about my good, bad, ugly, like all of my things, and not like just being authentic, being myself and being honest with myself, to myself and to others has been, I guess, one of my superpowers. Like people always tell me like you so real, like you so genuine, like you so this and that, and I'm just like I'm just doing me, but just really being connected to myself has been very helpful, in connecting with others and attracting like the right people into my space. Because this,
mm,
I'm not wearing like a facade or a mask or anything. Like if I'm not in the mood, if I don't like something, you're gonna know. So authenticity is definitely up there,
Yeah.
and something a little bit
Mm.
more lighthearted, just like being cultured, like just like knowing stuff about like
mm.
food and wine and music and history, like all these different
That's an
things.
underrated one too.
Yeah, like just like knowing stuff, reading books, like listening to podcasts and watching TV, watching movies, like just being cultured in whatever I'm like genuinely interested in has always been
Mm,
beneficial, especially wine. Like I love to go out to eat and I love networking. So when I travel and stuff, like food and wine is something that people in general can easily bond over. And I've made so many friends just by like knowing certain things, or like I've connected with like executives of companies just by geeking over red wine. So yeah, just like having like hobbies and like things that I love, that has definitely helped with connecting with other people.
fair. I'm gonna jump in real quick before I see, bro. I'm gonna let you go next, but I want to touch on that. Being cultured. It's so crazy, right? I took a job and I got the job because I was in certain spaces and knowing about certain things. So I went to this job, right, and I saw a dude had a Gary Vee book. And I damn near was going, to be honest, take the job after the fact that he messed with Gary Vee. I was like, this man gotta be doing some good things. But then we had a job, it was a job interview, right? And we during this interview damn near did not talk about the job at all. Like we literally just went down a rabbit hole just talking about like different things like real estate, different things in marketing, different books we kind of reading, different things we kind of learning. And at the end of that interview, I get a job without ever even talking about my background and real too much skills, just off of just the vibe. 'Cause one of the things he said that he learned from his mentors is you kind of hiring the person, you know what I'm saying? Like even
Exactly.
sometimes if they don't have the skills, you could always develop skills, you know what I'm saying? But it's certain things in a person's life where you can't really teach that easy, you know what
That
I'm
is
saying? Their
awesome.
character. That's a bar. So sometimes, and for people who watching this as well, don't disqualify yourself from jobs because, like I just shared a story. Sometimes just you being a powerful and go getter or being reliable in the space you're in, those are transferable skills for real. You just gotta be able to be a good interviewer and nail those, and let yourself shine through. But for my two, I want to say patience. I think patience
That's
is
the
one of the
biggest
biggest things. I
thing.
think everybody in this shit right now, like being patient, we in the go instant gratification world right now, and nobody have patience for each other. Nobody have patience for their own life. Like you were saying, far right. People don't even want to start over. They feel like you're getting old. Right now, people feel like 30 is old. I feel very fresh, and we are coming around the corner. And I'm saying I don't feel like I gain old. I feel like I gain even better right now. But patience for sure. And then I would say the next one will be like what was the next one I had? I'm gonna piggyback off of far right on listening, being able to listen, like, and sometimes listen without like putting my thoughts in it, and I explain what I mean. Like, I have a lot of mentorships that I paid for, and sometimes, and this goes back kind of to the bad faith conversation as well. Sometimes they will tell me things that I need to do, and I don't want to hear it. Like, I really don't want to hear it, knowing damn well that these people walk the walk I wanted to walk and got to where I need to do. So they know what it's going to take. And it's not like that all the time, but sometimes. But just being able to listen, soak in the information, and then sometimes follow blindly against what my mind may be convincing me. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we like to convince ourselves that there's another way around it. It gotta be some kind of shortcut. So we don't want to listen to the information. We don't want to take it in because it don't song or don't ain't coming in the way we exactly wanted it. Because it's song hard, it's song difficult, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes you gotta be able to just, like you say, Farah, shut up sometimes, hear up what going on, and then say, you know what? Let me give it a try and see if it works. Because at the end of the day, if y'all taking what we putting out, you can't be scared to fail. So try it, because if you knew what to do, you'd have been to that point already. So clearly you don't know. But go ahead, Bryan.
I like that. I like that. The biggest one for me is like Kira said, just being me, you know? And what I mean by that is my natural ability to just lighten the mood, especially in the workspace. Everybody is always going, panicking, fearing deadlines, rushing through life. And sometimes you just need a person who's just on a constant beat. I know we're gonna get things done. I ain't going up tempo, I ain't going low tempo. I here, to help you, give you a good joke, bring the levels back down. You need somebody that's calm and level headed. A good time in some workspaces, because sometimes life to come at you hard, especially at work. And I tend to just keep it constant most of the time. I don't like to get overwhelmed, come across flustered. You could come talk to me. I, help you out. So just having that ability to just change the mood, that's something that I really value. And then, like you said, patience, and patience to me comes in a dual form. You have to have patience, but also the ability to see things dually. And what I mean by that is, like, before you even approach somebody, and it saves you the most time, especially when you're working with a lot of people, is to be able to have to listen to them, how they communicate, and then without them being in a room, have that conversation with yourself to see both sides. Like, if I approach this person, I've listened to them speak enough, how would they receive what I am trying to put out? You know, so that saves a lot of interpersonal disputes. It actually streamlines work. Because, like, if I know you from listening to you and being patient and taking in what you said, I know how you'll react, how you'll go about certain situations. So I could streamline the work, make your life easier, my life easier, because I could see it from both sides, which saves us a lot of time in the communication factor. So those are the two things I'll go with.
And then I just wanted to add with Brian saying lightening the mood. It reminded me positivity,
Yeah.
and that goes across the board in so many ways. Positive attitude. It could go in the case of lightening the mood. You just a presence that people make people feel good as well as yourself, and it helps to connect with others. It helps to uplift and progress you forward, and it really takes you to great places when you do have a positive mindset, positive attitude, positive vibe. So
Yep.
All right, all right. This one now it's gonna be a little heavier, but people need the advice and they need to hear about these situations so they know it happens to all of us. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna talk about burnout a little bit. You know what I'm saying? All of us doing a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? We go eventually when you go into certain spaces, you're gonna experience burnout, and sometimes it comes mentally. It can even go as far as physical exhaustion just by you just being burnt out and tired. I want to start with you, Kayra. You doing a lot, and you're also a new mother, so I know it's times you just going through it.
Oh
So
yeah.
how do you deal and move forward during those times, and are able to get back centered, get back to a grounded level, and then being able to move on and carry about your day and tackle all your responsibilities?
Yeah, I have a lot to say about burnout, pushing yourself, all that, because we say like have a positive mindset and stuff, but sometimes positivity can be a little toxic if you're like not being honest with yourself about how you truly feel. And when you're like pushing, like trying to get stuff done, and so you really have to like listen to your body and like listen to yourself, know when to take breaks. When I was working with Viacom, I remember I had like the worst anxiety attack one day. Like there would just became like a point where I would be crying every day that I went to work. Like I would be on the train, like just bawling my eyes out, and then I would get to work, go straight to the bathroom, do my makeup, and then good morning, like like ready to go. But I was feeling like shit. Like I was so tired. I was working on the web series. I'm working at this company. Like I was just like super maxed out. And I just like wasn't listening to myself. And then the pandemic happened, and we're at home, and I'm like, oh my God, like I really needed to just be in the house. Like I apologize to everybody who suffered through COVID. I was up. I was like, thank God I don't gotta go out the house. Like I can stay home. I don't gotta do my makeup. I don't gotta do my hair. I don't have to be some version of myself that I don't feel like being. Like I get to just like exist. And I
Mm.
realized like just how like exhausted I actually was. And then, I learned how to like take care of myself and implement like actual self-care, like put myself first. Cause prior to this, like I used to like go what looking any kind of way, like, because I was just going, like just pedal to the metal. And then during the pandemic, like being home, like I just started to invest more into me, like doing more like I call them K days, where I just like don't talk to nobody, like I don't respond if I don't feel like responding, and I just spend time with
Mm.
Kayra and like take myself out to eat, journal, meditate, listen to music, dance party, like just shake my ass in the mirror, like whatever I feel like doing, like I'm just doing me. And I need those days often. And then becoming a mom, so my pregnancy was very much so unplanned. This was not in my list of things to do. If you had asked me if I wanted kids, I would be like, absolutely not. Like, I'm getting to the money. Like, I don't do that kid stuff. Like, family, no. Like, I'm supposed to be the rich auntie. I'm a boss ass bitch. Like, fuck them kids. I'm not doing it. And then I got pregnant, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. And like I mean, taking it back to failure, I thought that I failed. Like having kids and like, doing that before marriage, like I literally like came out the gates as a single mom. Like, like me and my kid's dad were never together. And I just felt like I fucked up. Like I'm at the top of my career. I had just got promoted. I was making six figures. I was living in my own apartment, driving my car, like just living my best life. Hot girl, like complete boss. And I have this web series under my belt. I have this TED talk under my belt. Like I'm like prime career. You know what I'm saying? And now
Mm.
I'm pregnant and I'm a baby mama. Are you kidding me? Like I internalized that emotion like so much when I was pregnant. I just felt like shit the whole pregnancy. And I mean, like my kid's dad, like he showed up for his kid or whatever, but to not be in a relationship like while pregnant, like I just felt like, damn, like I really fucked up. Like I fucked up my life. Like, and I was really sad about it. I was depressed throughout the whole pregnancy. I was depressed after the baby was born. And then when you give birth and you have to like immediately take care of this baby. And for me, like he was there and my mom was there like after my kid was born. But after a few weeks, like everybody, I was in Atlanta and they came back to St. Croix. So I was like by myself with this baby. And I was losing my fucking mind. I was like, this is nuts. Like, I can't even like go to the mailbox without this kid here. Like I'm trying to like
Mm.
breastfeed and clean the house and cook myself food and then take care of this baby. And it was just a lot going on. And I was just very sad inside about just the predicament that I had found myself in. Like I was like, you're supposed to do better. Like you're supposed to be better. Like I was supposed to get married. Like if I had just did it the right way, then I wouldn't be doing all this shit by myself. And like I was like beating
Mm.
myself up. Like I was being so mean to myself. Like, and that's, where it comes to the mindset. Like I was literally like telling myself like just like mean shit. Like I'm like you dumb bitch. Like how could you? Like, and I was really just like crying all the time. And I was exhausted. And then when I went back to work, because I had to make money, I only had 12 weeks off of maternity leave and only 4 weeks were paid. So those other 8 weeks were unpaid. And I still have rent, I still have Wi-Fi, I still have my car note, car insurance, all these things. And I had to get back to work. I wasn't really ready for my baby to go to daycare, period, because he's 12 weeks old. And so I'm like working from home with the baby, and a lot of people would say like, "Oh, it's a blessing, like you get to work from home." But that shit was another like it was just round the clock. Like, I'm not sleeping because if you know anything about having a newborn, like you're up every 2 to 3 hours. So I was sleep deprived, and I'm doing this big heavy job that requires me to like be creative and be
Mm.
spunksy and like communicate and all this stuff. And I'm on Zooms, but I'm changing diapers and I have the kid on my tit. And then I made the decision to stop breastfeeding. And then I felt guilty about that because everybody's like, oh, you got to breastfeed for a year or whatever, or else they're going to get all sick and shit. And I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. So I just like decided not to. And you know, it was just fucking hard. My kid's dad was coming once a month to like help, but and while I'm grateful for him showing up, it just like wasn't enough. Like it meant nothing to me, honestly. Like I was like, fuck this shit, because you coming up here and I still got to tell you how to do everything because you're not here every day. So it's still more work on my end, on top
Mm.
of just the emotional turmoil that we were going through at the time. It was just a lot, and I was fucking depressed. Like it was bad. Like I was down
Mm.
bad, rock bottom, like emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, all of the leads, I was fucked up. So I ended up having to move back to St. Croix, like moving home and like moving in with my mom. Not even because like I was like, oh, I've had enough. Like I was gonna push through, you know, but
Mm.
my apartment had all these issues and I had to leave my apartment and get rid of all my stuff. I had to quit the job, get rid of the car, like all these things that at one point validated my success, right? Like that's what I deemed successful. And you know, and downsize everything. Like I went from having my own space, like a space for me, a space for the baby, like my own things, to consolidating everything to this room, my childhood bedroom in my mom's house.
Mm.
And I had to like rehabilitate myself, and just like get back to me. So that looked like a lot of meditating in the rainforest, a lot of beach days, a lot of journaling. I went to therapy, a lot of crying, so much crying. Like I cried so much, from October through maybe like just 2023 was like the year of tears for me. I was crying all the fucking time.
Mm.
Um, and it was just bad. And so I'm a part of that was me being honest with myself about the fact that like you are down bad, bitch. Like I couldn't like pretend like I was happy or whatnot. Like no, I was sad. I was sad about not being in a relationship with my baby daddy. Fortunately for me, I had like fallen in love with him and he didn't want me. Like he wanted to be a dad, but he didn't want to be in a relationship with me. And that was like a big hit to my like self-confidence and my self-esteem, because it's like you pursue me, take me on dates, we have sex, we have this baby, and now you don't want me. Like what the fuck? Nah. But you have to like honor, you know, people's decisions, you know what I mean? And like I'm trying to like honor that and like just be grateful for the fact that like he is showing up for his kid.
Mm.
But I was like, what about me? Like I need like support for myself. And it was like, damn, I have to support myself in the most vulnerable time of my life. And it was just really fucking hard. Like it was
That
literally
still
like,
sound like a lot.
yeah, it was a day by day,
That
hour
sounds like
by
a lot.
hour active work thing. Like I had to like wake up and be like, you know, you not being in a relationship doesn't mean anything. Like you're still a good mom. You not working at some big name company doesn't mean that you're not talented. You not living alone doesn't mean that you're not successful. Like you're still successful, you're still beautiful, you're still worthy, you're still like the baddest bitch walking the fucking planet. Like you know what I mean? Like I had to like affirm
Mhm.
myself. Like you're still a good mom even if you're a single mom. Like you know you're still desirable even if your baby daddy didn't want you. Like everything is fine. Like you know what I mean? Like life is good. So it took just like a lot of um again like affirming, but like baby steps. Like it wasn't an overnight thing. I didn't just like pop the baby out and like get back to me. Like people would see like I didn't really gain any weight. I actually lost a lot of weight after I gave birth. And people would be like, "Oh, you snapped back, like you blessed this, that, and the third." And I'm like, "Yeah, bitch, that was depression. Like I was fucking sad. Like I was not eating, I was crying, and you know, like I had to like really come to terms with like where I was at mentally and emotionally
Mm.
and all of that. And honestly, it just renewed my spirit. Like I just got back in a more spiritual space, like with God, and like tap into my faith, and focus, like you know, like really focus on my well-being, and doing things like consciously drinking water, or like go take a walk, like put your phone down and do yoga, stuff like that. It was like conscious choices to like get out of the burnout, get out of the depression, get out of this just bad space that I was in, that I felt like I was just feeling like shit. Like, I'm like, oh my God, he's like dating other people. Like, what's wrong with me? And like, just like having to tell myself, like, it's nothing wrong with you, bro. Like, you're still that girl. Like, it does not fucking matter what this nigga's doing. Like, let him do him. Let him do what he got to do for his kid. You do what you got to do for you. You do what you got to do for your kid. I had to like tell myself, like, you don't have to date immediately, because I was like, oh, like I'm outside, like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm about to bag me a new man, da, da, da. And it was like, nah, I don't even have the capacity to do that. Like, that doesn't being with somebody doesn't validate you or make you, it doesn't mean anything. Like, I just had to like be with me. So it just took a lot of K days. It took a lot of self-awareness, like knowing where I'm at, knowing when like I need to like leave a situation or leave a room or whatever. Like, I would go to certain places on the island that like we had gone on dates to, and I would get mad triggered, like big, like just like anxiety. And I would just feel like, I'm not ready for that yet. I can't do that one yet. Like, I can't go to that beach right now. I can't go to that restaurant right now. Like, I'm just not there yet. Like, I'm still grieving what we had, and like what I thought was gonna happen, and like all this stuff. And so I just had to like take it easy on myself and just, be good. So, like I said, being honest with yourself is so important, and like not pretending that you're in a good space. Like, if you're not in a good space, I'd be like, yeah, like I'm not good right now. Like, I need to like do something else that does make me feel good. But where I'm at right now, this is just not it.
Yeah,
And
acknowledge. Gotta acknowledge
yeah,
what's going on.
acknowledge what's up, like acknowledge just like where you at, and do the things that will make you feel good in that moment. Like, sometimes what felt good for me would just be like hanging with my baby. Like, I would just turn my phone, like put it on do not disturb, and I'm just playing with my son. And then like, he'll do little things like put his hand on my cheek, or like, now he gives me these big slobbery kisses and whatnot. And like, that would just be it. I'm like, okay, this was the highlight of my day. I'm happy. I'll be grateful whenever my mom cooks, because she be cooking. I'd be like, I'm so grateful that I didn't have to cook today. Like, just really leaning into the gratitude of it all, like how we started this episode, and just being grateful for different things. Like, being grateful for what my baby daddy was doing versus what he wasn't doing. Like, that helped shift things a lot within the dynamic in terms of co-parenting. Because I was like, I don't want to hate him. I don't want to, whatever this like anger, rage, all that. Like, I don't want to feel that. Like, I want to feel good. Like, I want my kid to see two happy, healthy, positive people in his life, whether they're together or not. And
That's
I
real.
just had to like work on that and just like forgive him and forgive myself, and uh, just be grateful.
I ain't following that. I ain't
Right
like,
now, like here, I think that
No,
that's
that's
her segment
if
fully.
that's
yeah,
burnout to the
yeah.
fullest.
One thing,
I think
Jesus, bread.
yeah,
Yes,
one thing I do
respect
want
to
to say
you,
though,
Kayra.
and I want to acknowledge it. Shout out
Right.
to you for being vulnerable enough to even get on a platform
And
and
share that.
authentically share that experience. You know what I'm saying?
she
That's
gave
why I say I ain't gonna
herself,
follow,
and
because I know there's a lot of
so
people,
you don't worry
and I
about
know people personally that has been through the same, not exactly the same, obviously, but has been through similar situations, who don't even have the confidence to get up there and be outward with that. And sometimes that's exactly what they need to do to be able to come out and just speak on it, for one, acknowledge it, like you said, and know that is not the end of life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
you, if you push hard enough and you really put the intention behind being better, while it might not be a quick thing, like you share, this is things that you deal with over a long period of time. You know what I'm saying? But with the persistence and being able to, like you said, meditate, like you said, like just getting back to
it. Yeah,
yourself and chasing that self
it's
awareness.
it's
There's light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I'm
exactly
saying? There's light at the end of the
something.
tunnel. And that's all I'm
Yeah,
gonna say on that, because I think you did a
I
great
think
job.
so too. She lived in her truth. She knew it was okay not to be okay, and she took the time she needed to power through
Right.
all of these adversaries, and she put a positive spin on everything. So I think she said it the best you could. That was burnout and overcoming and acceptance all wrapped up in a package. Thank you, Kayra.
That
Yeah.
was extreme burnout. That was
Yeah, I'm like, what?
no, no,
I can't say
straight
nothing.
Yeah, I
out.
think she need new tires after that
But
one.
Facts,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
nah, shout out to you for that, man.
It was bad. It was
All right.
bad. It was definitely like
yeah.
dark as fuck. But radical honesty, I think, is like I told you, like I fell down in Juve and I was like, oh my gosh, I could choose to be embarrassed about this or not. It's like it's a choice. Like I'm not really embarrassed about what I went through. It's just that's just what happened. So,
Facts.
you just
And
gotta
then
accept it.
That's
I'll say
powerful.
the other thing about going through real life experiences when stuff like falling down in Juve happen,
One
that's like
second.
so small compared to what you've experienced in life and the things that you happen that things like that just become
That's
just funny.
that's
I mean,
that's
you could laugh
yeah.
about that instantly rather than 5 weeks
She get
later.
forged in fire.
Yeah.
All
She's
right.
solid.
All right. So for this question here, we're gonna keep it super short. I want to listen clear. It's one line, no explanation. Just one line. So sum it up in this one line. So if you could travel back in time to graduation and give your younger self one piece of advice, and I don't want no
Wait,
no
wait,
answer
wait.
like, oh, go invest in
Which
Bitcoin.
graduation? You talking high school or for some of us college?
Let's do that's a I
So
ain't
it says
graduate from
some of
college. So
us.
we
Okay,
get
so
high
some
school.
of us.
We get high school. If I try to share
No,
on
you
me,
do your
we
thing
get
now.
high
Come
school.
on now.
Yeah, we did that thing now. Nah, man. Let's play. But yeah, let's do high school. So you go back to your high school right after your high school graduation. Not the day after, because we turn up a little day after, say get a little drunk and thing. But let's say like after the turn up was done and you get ready to move on your new life, what is the piece of advice you give to your younger self? And like I said, no invest in Bitcoin, no go buy a house. Like a piece of advice that maybe, hey, there was some bars and they would have led you to maybe think like, you know what, I should go buy a house. Something like that.
Hmm.
Okay, you know what? I'll go first while I think. I'll go first because it seems like I gotta really think about this. I'll go first. So the piece of advice I would give to myself is do not lose who you are
Dude, that
chasing who you think you should
Hey,
be.
you see, you had time to come up with that answer because that's all formulated in my head.
God
No,
damn.
I don't have not
No,
listen.
I was
I
lit.
I,
Okay.
I was gonna do a whole segment, not a whole
Okay,
segment, but a
I
whole
go, I
piece
go,
for
I
that.
go
But
say
you know
this.
what? Let me make it challenging.
To the expectations you make for yourself and not those that were placed upon you. That's what I'll give you.
Mm.
All right.
I mean, I react like that because I was going to say do not lose yourself. But I guess another piece of advice that I would give myself is to be okay with making mistakes and not looking like the smartest person in the room.
How you could ever be the smartest person in the room? You're so
All
tall. Sure. Oh,
Smartest.
you should
Smartest.
enunciate your words.
Smartest.
right. Nigga like that, he says
Like
smileless.
this
No,
this nigga big as
I could
hell.
ever be the smallest person in the room. If that would be a crazy room to be in to see that.
Yeah. You in a room with pure NBA players, listen. Fuck I see
Yeah,
that.
smartest.
Kayra, what you got?
Mine would be don't be afraid to rock by yourself and like be alone. You don't have to like contort yourself to fit into groups if something's not working. Like it's okay to be dolo and ride your own wave.
For
I like
sure.
All
that.
right.
That's a good
All
one.
right. All right. So
I would enjoy time with myself more too. You're right. That's a good one, Kara.
I mean, that's a real underrated
Yeah.
thing, man. It's a real
Yeah, for
underrated.
sure. A lot of
You know what I'm
people
Can't
saying?
be
kind of
alone.
would go crazy
Yeah.
to just
That
alone.
solo dolo experience in adulthood
Yeah,
is chef's kiss. So I would have loved to experience that younger.
Oh, and Kenny,
yeah,
Kenny, Kenny in the audience said from Powerful Vibes. You said that's Powerful Vibes. For those who don't know, if y'all ever want to be a part of the live recording of these, Just reach out to us, leave a comment, or reach out to one of us personally. We could send you a link where you just be in the audience and you could experience the pod and the energy live. Like Kenny's right now as an audience, that's why you can't see him, but he's able to talk to us in the chat and stuff. So if you ever want to be a part of the come true experience, until at least we start going live with a lot of these things, hey, just reach out. We'll let you know the schedule and
and
jump
come
on and
true.
have some fun with us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for real, come true. You were going to say
Yeah,
something, Kira. I apologize.
I was just gonna say that being alone has been so beneficial for me in my adulthood. I like when I got to college, I was living in a suite with like all the other girls and stuff, and I had a boyfriend my freshman year, so I spent a lot of time with like him and his friends, and then with my suite mates and stuff. And I would like try to be alone on my like I would literally like ghost these people and just like go to the mall by myself or like just like take time just to like fall off the grid because I was like, yo, like I just want to do my own thing. Like I want to try restaurants and stuff, but everybody else want to do something else, and I would just like still do what I wanted to do. And sometimes I would
Yeah.
self-sacrifice what I wanted to like be in the group, and then I would hate it. I'd be like, I should have just did what I
Yep.
wanted. But
I do that shit
um,
so much time.
yeah, and like that was a lot like my freshman year, my sophomore year, like from sophomore year on, I was an RA in
Mm.
college. So when you're an RA, like you get your own room. And growing up, I shared a room with my sister. So when I became an RA, this was kind of like my first time like having my own space for real, for real.
Yeah.
And that did wonders for me, like just being able to like spend my night
Yeah.
like doing my own thing, like figuring out my vibe, like the music that I want to play. Like I don't have to adhere to what my roommate want, what my boyfriend wants, none of that. Like it was just me. Because me and my boyfriend broke up at the end of freshman year, so I went into the rest of my college experience single,
Mm.
and I was just like on my own beat, on my own time, doing my own thing, and I just did a lot of shit by myself, and it was very like I just got to know myself on a really deep level.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, like it set me up for adulthood. Like when I moved to New York, like I had roommates and stuff because it was New York, but I still had my own room, and
Yeah.
I love being by myself. Like I said, I have my K days. I be going out to eat by myself. I go to the movies by myself. I do whatever I want. Like I love spending time with me. Like I am my
Let me
literal
ask you a
favorite
question.
person. Yeah.
Do you think and I can't know Maya because the thing about Maya who tell me that going bowling by yourself is weird. Do you agree with that? I think when Maya tell me that on my Facebook post. I used to do a lot. Well, I still do sometimes, but I used to go a lot. Like
That
I go
sounds like
every single
something
day.
Maya would say.
But I don't went to 5-star restaurants and still and just eat them myself. But I post something about bowling. I think I post like my score or something. And Maya will come tell me that going bowling by yourself is weird. I'm like, why somebody else gonna tell me that's
That's what I
psychotic?
hate of it, son.
Yeah, dog. Like what?
Bowling by
But now,
yourself
man,
is peak confidence because bowling is really, it's like competitive. So I feel like you bowling by yourself, you really just competing with yourself. Maybe I don't know if you're doing it because you
I,
want
I
like
think
That's how you gonna
bowl
get better if
yes,
you compete with yourself.
yeah.
that's why I like golf. That's why I like golf too. Like in golf, you kind of competing with yourself.
So I
Yeah.
would say bowling with yourself is a little abnormal,
Man, you like hit that time, man.
but
It's
but
definitely not normal.
it's not crazy. It's not crazy
Right.
to
It's
do. It's
not
just not
wrong.
something you see often.
Okay, okay, make good that
Not
Yeah.
story.
something you see often.
All right. Okay. So hold on. Let me ask him. So if a man go to the basketball court and go run ball by himself, he just practicing. He where?
No, not
Thank
at
you.
all.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. I
That's the
hate it
culture
on
of
bowling.
basketball.
I hate
I
it
get
on
you.
bowling. That's
Never
what it
mind.
is. You hate
Yeah,
it on bowling, bro.
that example. I'm wrong. You're right. That's completely different.
Wow.
You want to be by yourself. You like bowling, so you just go. You know what
Work
I'm
a few
saying?
things.
You gotta do a lot of things. But
I think it's just
what
like
up?
bowling is like more of a social thing. Like
Yeah,
basketball is
exactly. It's
like
the
a
culture.
sport.
The culture of the sport
That,
itself is what makes it a little different.
that's what I think. Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
associate bowling with people just. Hey, let me go
Yeah.
bowl, unless they're going like a
Yeah.
date or, you know what I'm saying, that kind of vibes. But I do
Right.
want
Like
to give you some time, Kayra. You're doing something like that I saw that I think it's very powerful, at least from my perspective. But you started something called For the BMs. I want to give you a little bit of time, the time we have left, to talk about that. Give yourself a shout out, and yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah, For the BMs is the start of a nonprofit that I'm doing that ultimately like I have like a bunch of missions involved, but the big mission is just creating a safe space for baby mamas to be a baby mama in peace. While I was pregnant and like postpartum and stuff, I just used to see so much mean shit on the internet about like I would never be a BM or like, just like all this different stuff that like made me feel bad about being a baby mama.
God damn.
And I was like, I don't want to feel bad about being a baby mama, like, because I'm doing a real good job as this baby's mama. Like, I don't want to feel bad about my
Hmm.
predicament and stuff. And there's just so many women, people, who are in parenting situations who, you could be married and be a baby mama. Like this experience of starting this, curating this space has shown me like it literally like everybody's situation is so nuanced and people use baby mama as a slur, but it's like anybody could be a baby mama. Like if you give birth, you are a baby mama, period. Like it doesn't matter how you come into the situation, like whether you were married beforehand or you got married during, blah 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 blah. Like you can still be a baby mama, and that is not a bad thing. You know what I mean? And
She said
so
it, not me. She said it. No, I didn't
yeah,
say it. She said it.
it's not
All
a
right, you're
terrible
right. Make it clear.
thing. And so the point is to have this space for the girls, to come and just, feel what you feel. And if you're bitter right now, like be bitter. It's okay. Like people be like, oh, he got a bitter baby mama, da 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 da. And it's like, yeah, because that girl is taking care of that baby. Like it's hard, and like she has to work and she has to take care of herself and she has to show up and it's like you might have to put on the mask at work or in front of your baby daddy or in front of whoever, but for the BMs, like you get to be whoever you want to be over here. Like you can be happy, you can be sad, you can be bitter, you can be stressed, you could be whatever you're feeling. On top of, I want to just destigmatize like the phrase baby mama. Like I don't want it to be a slur. It really used to affect me when I would see people, like, or like when people would refer to me as like a baby mama, and I was like, I
Mm,
can't control like what people say. I can only control like my reaction to it. And so I was like, I don't want to feel away like when I get called a baby mama.
mm,
Because again, like it's an honor to be this baby's mama. Like, you know what I'm saying? To be
Hmm.
the one that is like giving him life and taking care of him. So with that, I started interviewing baby mamas, and in this experience, like I said, like there's so many different ways to get into motherhood, and be a baby mama, and they're all special. Like it doesn't, like my experience doesn't take away from the next girl's experience, and like vice versa. Like, I'm talking to
mm.
women who planned their pregnancies and broke up with their kid's dad at 4 months. People who were married for a while before they got pregnant, people who were having casual sex and got pregnant. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know how the situation gonna turn out and all that. So yeah, I just want to like destigmatize the phrase baby mama. I don't want anybody feeling bad to be called a baby mama. And people should stop, just like throwing it around so loosely and like being just so mean about it. Like people can be so mean to moms.
Exactly. Facts. Straight up.
And I just don't like that. So that's what this is about. Ultimately, what I want to do is be able to like, right now I'm doing the interview series, but eventually, like, I want to start hosting events so that baby mamas can come together and just have community and talk about all the nuances of being a mom. I want to be able to do like resource exchanges. Like if your kid outgrows their diapers and you have extra packs, like you can give it to the next mom who needs the size 2
That's dope.
diapers. If your kid outgrows their clothes, you can give it to the next mom who needs the 6-month clothes.
Mm,
Stuff like that. And then I
that's
also
dope.
want to have just like
That is.
support. Like you can just come and like talk your shit, and get it off your chest and just feel validated. Because I like in this, like talking to moms, like I've said some crazy shit. Like I'm like, yo, I was doing da 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 da, and they're like, yup, me too. And you can't say that to like normal people who are like not moms or like don't have kids or even like your baby daddy. Sometimes like they just don't get it. So it's like saying like that real like niche nuanced thing for that someone else can like see you and affirm you and be like, girl, you are not crazy. Like this just comes with the experience.
Mm,
And then once it gets like really, really big, like once it's like a big old nonprofit, for real, I really want to be able to like sponsor daycare for a mom in need. and just like do things like that. Like that's like my big goals and the vision that I see it being, because there's so many women who get abandoned after they have babies. There's so many women who are abused. Like I know a lot of moms who get abused by their baby daddies, like physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, like, and they're just left with all this responsibility of caring for this tiny human and taking care of yourself. And this isn't to discredit like dads, because I know that there are like single fathers and men who do it too, but this particular group is for moms who are going through that. And I just want to create that space to like show women that like you are supported, you are not deserving of trauma in any which way, shape, or form, and like you do deserve love, you do deserve support, whether you were left or abused, or it's all on you, or you're co-parenting, because even co-parenting can be a little unfair for moms. And it can be overwhelming, and people just expect you to just like be able to do it, like like, oh, like you're a mom, like you're supposed to just get it, like, and then God forbid you don't, now it's like, oh my God, you're a terrible person, or she don't take care of her kids, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
Like it's just so much
not a pressure.
scrutiny. Yeah, and it's like, like sometimes you just want like be able to say like, I don't want to be around my kid right now. Like I need space. Like I need time to do me. And dads get to do it. Dads, people don't say nothing when dads go off and live their best lives, but God forbid it's a mom. It's like, oh, she's so terrible. So, just like having other women who like get it and understand the experience is kind of the goal, on top of like supporting women who need support.
And how can people
Well, you have come through. But Paul,
how,
I mean, it's not Paul, man. Yeah,
thank you, thank you, thank you,
Brian.
thank you. Um,
We got
this
him.
growing seed that you have right now, Kira, like how can baby moms reach out to you? How can they get in contact to be a part of this
That's what I'm
movement?
asking.
You
Thanks,
Yeah,
co-host. My other co-host disappeared.
I know. I'm like, I don't know where Tafari went. I hope he comes back. But
Wait, am I not
I'm on
here?
Instagram. It's four, like the number four, DABMs. That's the Instagram page. Or you can follow me on Instagram, Kayra J, and I've been posting content through my page on YouTube, on my Facebook, and just platforming it there. And eventually I'll have like a website and stuff, but for right now Instagram is kind of like my main distribution platform. It's just like the social media platform that I work with best. But I've been trying to like get back on Facebook and be catered to the Facebook audience. But yeah, it's on YouTube, the series that I've been producing. And if you follow me, Kayra J, on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or wherever, I'm gonna be constantly like promoting and talking about what's next and like the events and stuff that I want to do and all that. And eventually, I'll have a newsletter and I'll have a team and people who can assist with like growing the mission. But for right now, I've just been highlighting different baby mamas every Friday in March for Women's History Month. Last month for February, I was doing baby mama nights at the bar because I was bartending, and just inviting moms to my shifts on Fridays to just have a drink and take baby
So,
mama shots.
know, what's a
And going forward, I'm just gonna see what happens. I want to do baby mama
what's a
brunch,
baby
baby mama
mama
beach
shot?
day, like
What's the baby mama shot?
just telling you what,
the
be a baby mama.
No, I want to know.
Brian.
For real,
it's
what's the
actually
baby mama
really
shot?
good.
What is it? What is it?
The baby mama shot is mamawana with sour, and it just takes really good. So I was like, mamawana sounds like baby mama,
Mama
and then
Wana
the
is
Mama,
sour,
yeah.
probably the reason a lot of
uh,
people became baby mamas.
that's probably very true. Uh, and the sour element, like honestly, it just kind of like it. I don't know it because mamawana is very like a spice
Hmm.
type of thing. The sour kind of like makes it more refreshing,
Hmm.
but because it's sour, like
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of like the double entendre because baby mamas are seen as like bitter and sour and mean and whatnot. But actually, when you take the shot, it's really smooth and really refreshing. And a lot of baby mamas are cool as fuck. Like there's so many women who are like running businesses, taking care of their kids in school, like doing the absolute most. And They deserve the utmost respect. Like carrying and delivering a child is not easy. You're going through like serious mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual changes. It's super profound. You can't even really describe it. And that's just like with that part of it, like there are stepmoms and adopted moms, just the act of like raising a baby or raising a child, taking care of someone else, nurturing someone that
Mm.
is not you on a daily consistent basis, emotionally, financially, like all of that, like it takes work. It's a real job that doesn't end. So like when you see people who are doing that on top of taking care of their household, like handling all their own bills, like don't have somebody paying their bills for them, like when you really got to hustle on your own and it's a baby laying right next to you and you editing
Mhm.
videos and you on calls and you making bottles and changing diapers and all of that. Welcome back to Far Eye.
Yeah, Ali.
Apparently you were back the whole time, but continue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like you know what I'm saying, like it's a lot of work and it's very 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 heavy. And I just love all the moms, like all the moms who are doing it, even if you're baby mama number 4 and you did that, go ahead girl, like because there's just you just can't predict these things. If you're baby mama number 1, baby mama number 4, if you're a wife, if you're divorced, if you're widowed, like there's so many things that can happen in life that can like shift the dynamic of parenting. But to anybody that's taking care of their kids, like shout out to you. It's real hard work. I do want to talk to some baby daddies though. So, two of y'all in here got some kids. I'd love to like interview you maybe one day because I think that it's important to capture the fact that motherhood and fatherhood are not the same thing. The journeys are just not the same.
I
And
guess
it
so
can
you tell,
be,
but let me tell you.
yeah, it's not the same. And I feel like it's easy to shit on baby daddies for sure because it's like you did not carry the child. But you guys do have your own experience that I think is worth talking about as well.
We appreciate
I'm
that.
here
Yeah.
whenever you ready.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Safari, anything you want to add before we close?
Well,
Or
I
Brian?
would just like to add that I do think that this movement, this vision that you have is pretty awesome. I mean, that mothers, baby mothers, they do, yeah, it gets seen in a negative light. Sometimes even from myself, from my perspective, like with that idea that you choose who you lay down with and this and that and this and that. But it's that aside, it is great to see that you are creating a space that's more about the positive side of it, and just uplifting and embracing this reality that it might be, and you might have felt like shit for it, you might have felt guilty, but here we are, and it's not a bad thing, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Oh, he's gone.
Wow. I don't know again. I
I
with
I don't know
Tafari.
what's
Did
Yo,
I
happening,
Saint
just
Thomas.
but I
lose
received that.
connectivity again?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
that's what it
sorry.
is. He didn't say Thomas.
It's St. Thomas' fault.
But
I received that though.
yeah,
Thank you, Tafari, in
we
spirit.
give thanks to you, Kayra, for creating this space for all mothers, like you said. No matter the circumstance, it's always good to have a community where people can relate to the things that you're going through, or you could offer advice to people who haven't gone through those certain things themselves. So I think it's beautiful. I hope that you're able to take it to the highest accolades that you dream of, and I definitely know people are going to look forward to those social gatherings as well. So we thank you for that, and I hope it all works out. And you know, shout out to all the baby moms, past and present, future.
Big facts.
Oh yeah.
Big facts. Thank you, Kira, for gracing us with your amazing presence, for sharing your stories once again, for being vulnerable and putting the information and the energy out there for everybody to
Yeah.
see, embrace, hear the story, take the tidbits. I know that you're not alone in this fight, and here's Farah again. But yeah, with that, y'all already know what time it is. It is the Come True Motherfucking Podcast.
Yes, yes.
This is your boy Webb. Tune in. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you drop a comment. Make sure you drop a question for us to like ask in the next pod. Make sure you drop your opinion. You could come out here and say, Web, you full of shit, and use a hypocrite or whatever you want to do. Or put me on some game, you know what I'm saying? I might have said something, you have a different take. Hey, put me on some game, let me learn and let me shift my perspective because it's never too late to shift your perspective. I don't care if you're 94 years old and you watching Come Through the Podcast. It's a brand new day. Get up and start your life. You have until the day that you wake up, until the day you die, and you don't know when that's going to be. So just live your best life so that when you are in that grave, you could be happy and content with
What?
yourself. You know
What?
what I'm saying?
What the fuck?
I love that.
Nah, man. With that, we definitely out.